everybody, it's Catherine. Today we are talking about Vilhelm Parfumerie. I've become somewhat captivated with not only because of the fragrances themselves, but because of the stories that each fragrance tells. Vilhelm Parfumerie was created by Jan Vilhelm. Forgive me if I'm probably Jan Vilhelm. Born in Sweden and now living in Paris, Jan Vilhelm Ahlgren is a polymath who leaves no stone unturned. He seems to be quite the Mr. Gatsby. The website boasts of him being all about simple pleasures and lavish luxuries. He seems timeless, a man who sees charm and playfulness as the keys to getting ahead in life. Everything is always done with elegance, gentleness, and heart. Vilhelm Parfumerie is considered a library. Each fragrance is said to tell a tale. Though each of the bottles is created from the same identical spun glass with the yellow saffron label, each of the fragrance is independent and its own. Unlike many perfume houses I've experienced lately where each fragrance kind of seems to have the same undertone, the fragrances in Vilhelm Parfumerie, at least that I've experienced, does seem independent of themselves. Each has this unique and vibrant tale behind it, which really makes the sense even more intriguing when you hear the story behind it. You might be about the fragrance itself, but then you hear the story behind it that the fragrance is supposed to represent, and you're just enraptured. They want the fragrance to be a bit of a paradox where it's vintage but yet new, sparks of recognition but not familiarity. Each of the fragrances is a nod to the past while still expressing a contemporary olfactory language. The first fragrance that I experienced from Vilhelm Parfumerie was the Mango Skin, which has been talked about a lot lately. It's a very fresh, fruity scent, sweet but yet slightly creamy, and it was really intriguing to me. It did not have the longest duration or life or sillage, but it did spark my interest enough to want to experience some of the other fragrances. So I looked up Vilhelm Parfumerie and read about some of the other fragrances and just became intrigued. I then researched my sample sites and found a site that sold Vilhelm Parfumerie samples and picked up quite a few. I got Stockholm 1978, Poets of Berlin, Opus Kore, Mango Skin, Room Service, and the Eau de Fer. We are going to put aside the Eau de Fer because honestly, I'm not a huge fan of oud. I thought I would give it a chance. It's very strong of oud and not my favorite, so we're just going to put that one to the side for now and maybe we'll talk about it later. Mango Skin has been covered by so many other influencers right now, and I just touched on it briefly, so we're going to put that one aside. Save it for a rainy day. Stockholm 1978 is a really cool story behind it, but we are going to save that one because Stockholm 1978 seems to be a bit more of a spring summer scent, and we're deep in the winter months here. And today we are going to talk about Opus Kore and Poets of Berlin. Let's start with Poets of Berlin. Went with my glittery lip because of the story behind this sucker. Poets of Berlin is considered an amber fragrance for both women and men. It was launched in 2018. The nose behind the fragrance, Jerome Epinette. Top notes, blueberry and lemon. Middle notes, bamboo and orris. Base notes, vanilla, sandalwood, and vetiver. Poets of Berlin was named for David Bowie's trilogy, said to be the perfect perfume metaphor for David Bowie's serious talent underneath his glittery glam. Hence the glitter lipstick. See how I tied that together? Anyway. Though right away you smell that the sweetness of the blueberry and the lemon, the quick undercurrent of the vetiver and the bamboo are revealed. It becomes more of like a woodsy sweetness, which is just intriguing to me. And then as it dries down, you get more of that vanilla bean, which just kind of adds to the heavier sweetness of the fragrance. So you start off with those light, sweet notes, you mix in those woodsy notes, and then you end up with that deep, heavier vanilla, which just makes it a captivating scent because, as I said, it's like that sweet, but then the woodsy, but then the sweet, but then the woodsy, and it's just like you're riding a current. Is it more feminine? Is it more masculine? I think it really toes the line between the two of them because, like I said, you have the woodsy, which kind of stereotypically is more of a masculine scent, while the sweetness, blueberry, vanilla tends to be more feminine type scents. So I really think that it's a strong balance between feminine and masculine. Could be easily worn by both. Vilhelm Parfumerie doesn't seem to have the longest life or the strongest sillage, but they're very enjoyable fragrances. So Just know, at least on me, they become more of a skin scent, but it's an enjoyable skin scent. So just enjoy the experience. This might be one of those fragrances you throw in after your shower or before bed to just kind of give you this calming olfactory intrigue without a lot of body or girth to the fragrance. Opus Kore. To be honest, I bought almost entirely for this story. When I was a little girl and we had a babysitter, the babysitter, Carrie was her name. Carrie would tell me Greek mythology stories for my bedtime stories, and I just was so intrigued by these gods and goddesses and the stories behind them. Opus Kore speaks of one of those stories. Kore, meaning maiden in Greek. Demeter was the goddess of harvest and agriculture and also fertility. Zeus was considered king of the gods, so Zeus is the big guy. As the story goes, Persephone, who was the daughter of Zeus and Demeter, was abducted into the underworld by Hades. So Hades is the lord of the underworld, or the god of the underworld. Hades fell in love with Persephone, knowing that the mother Demeter was not going to allow Persephone to go down to the underworld with Hades. Zeus kind of made it private, and Zeus allowed Hades to abduct Persephone into the underworld. So when Demeter found that her daughter had been abducted, she forbid the earth to continue making vegetation and caused nothing to grow because of her deep despair. So Helios, who was the sun up above, saw everything and eventually told Demeter what happened at length. Finally, Zeus, who was pressed by the cries of all the people that were hungry because there was no vegetation, forced Hades to return Persephone. However, first Hades tricked Persephone by giving her some pomegranate seeds. And pomegranate seeds was the fruit of the underworld. So because she tasted the fruit of the underworld, she's obliged to spend a third of the year in Hades. So, i.e., third of the year, the winter months. So to tie it all together then, Persephone is the embodiment of spring and personification of vegetation, which grow in the earth, spring up when she returns to living. So for that 2/3 of the year when she returns to the living, she brings a gift, the gift being spring. And then of course the winter when all of those die and she returns to Hades, queen of the underworld. So then becomes the goddess of death and destruction. So back to the perfume then. Opus Kore, opus meaning song, opera, to work, abundance, is the meaning of opus, and core, the maiden, so Opus Kore. So this is the perfume of the maiden. The top notes of Opus Kore are Sicilian lemon and acai, middle notes raspberry, magnolia, and violet, and then the base notes sandalwood, skin musks, and amber. Opus Kore is one of Vilhelm Parfumerie's best-selling fragrances. It retails for about $250. It's considered a floral, woody fragrance for both women and men. It was launched in 2015. The nose again behind it, Jerome Epinette. I really enjoy this fragrance. It's definitely more of a spring fragrance, so I'm sorry to be reviewing it right now. It opens with more of a white floral, but with that slight fruity undertone to it, but it's definitely significantly floral. It's a lighter floral, much like, reminds me a little bit of like La Tulipe by Byredo, or the lighter floral Byredo scent. So right away you smell those magnolia, you smell the violet leaves. The longer you wear it, those heavier notes of the musk and the amber and the sandalwood start to reveal themselves. However, I think that it stays a very floral fragrance. So again, it's a lovely light. It's not gonna have a large body. It's not gonna have a long life. It's a gentle skin scent, but an enticing one. It's very friendly. It's like a white linen sundress. A walk in a lilac park. The beginning of spring when buds are blooming. That is what this fragrance definitely reminds me of. There you have it, a brief introduction to Vilhelm Parfumerie and an introduction to 2 of his fragrances. I will circle back, and in the future do Stockholm 1978 and Room Service, as well as Mango Skin. I wanted to keep this one on a shorter side. I'm expecting my daughter home from my parents any minute, but I wanted to make sure that I did a fragrance video for you guys because I've been wanting to for a while and I haven't gotten the opportunities. I hope y'all are staying well and enjoying your holiday, and I will see you all soon. Please make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the content of this video, and the subscribe button if you would like to see videos like this in the future. So appreciate you all, and I will see you all soon. each of the fragrances does seem to have its own identical scent. So as the story goes in Greek myth,